Greetings, my Halloween geeks. Welcome back to our 31 Days of Horror, or our Halloween countdown. Day 6, and tonight we watched The Orphan from 2009, directed by, I can remember the name, Jean-Colette Serra, and starring Vera Farmiga and Peter Saragard. What's this film about, Powell?
It was about a couple who seem quite rich. They've got a really posh house, haven't they? Like a big glass-fronted house in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they say that she worked at Yale, and he is a
he's some sort of
architect, wasn't it? Yeah, because you see him with drawing roles.
They have 2 children, a girl and a boy. The girl is the youngest child. And the film starts by her losing a baby in quite a
graphic
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm assuming
that was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare, yeah, but she did lose a quite a long sort of full-term baby. They decide to adopt because they said they've got all this love for the child
that never
was, that didn't come into the world. It was called Jessica.
Yeah.
So they go to an adoption agency. It's very strange. It's like a house for girls they end up in.
Yeah, run by nuns.
Yeah. And they kind of just, I don't know if it works like that. It doesn't work like that over in
It's almost like, come in, pick the one you want.
Yeah, you go in, have a look round, have a little crack with them each one, then you decide which one you want, and it doesn't work like that over here, definitely. It probably doesn't in America, to be fair.
I'm not going to go into the obvious jokes.
So they go in, and he wanders around, doesn't he? In this home,
he hears singing.
And he hears this sinister, and she's quite a creepy little kid. So he happens upon this little kid who's upstairs on her own, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not like all of the kids, and I'm a bit like almost like quirky and not the usual." And they sort of take a liking to her, and they start the process of adopting her. They seem quite a solid couple, don't they? He's a bit of a div.
He's okay to a point, but it's that usual. It's a trope that's used in a lot of films where the husband's blind to everything, completely. So he's a character, but the bare minimum of a character.
Yeah, and he's previously cheated on her, which she'd only found out a few years after, and like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So there's quite a bitterness there. But yeah, then they get this girl home, don't they? And everything seems okay, and she gets a bit picked on at school, and she kind of pushes the bully down the slide. Which, to be fair, I think we've all probably pushed kids. Not that much. Yeah, but I've pushed. Like if somebody's been having a go at me as a kid, there gets to a point you do snap and you do
snap. But this, from the way it was shown, it was completely calculated. She waited for her to be alone. She intimidated her.
She waited for her to be at the top of the slide, and then pushed her off the slide, so she broke her ankle.
Something a child maybe wouldn't do.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. You push the other kid back, don't you, and stick up for yourself. But so she's manipulating everything, so it looks like the mum doesn't take to her, and it's not really the case at all, is it? She's just quite wise to her, I think. And then the nun comes out, because she comments to the nun. She rings to ask how it's going, and she sort of says, "Oh, we've had a few issues.
Few problems. She might have pushed someone down a slide."
Yeah, and she said, "I think I need to come out. I need to have a chat with you about her." And the nun's quite honest and says, "We don't really know where she's from."
She's always good.
Yeah, the paperwork is a bit thingy, and she said, and what we've noticed is any time there's an accident, she's always involved.
She's not always involved, she's always there.
On the outskirts watching, she's always seen it. And she said, "I think we may have a problem." Like, and the woman's like, "All right, well, we need to find out." And the guy's totally dismissive, he's a total idiot. But on the way back, driving home,
because she overhears the conversation, she grabs the youngest child who's deaf, Max, and runs down to the road and says, And it's completely nuts. It says, we've got to scare her so that she won't come back. And to scare her, she pushes Max into the middle of the road and
gets out of the crashed car, but she's taken a hammer.
Yeah.
And she just beats her head in
know.
front of this other little kid who's horrified. And she's like, oh, well, I had to do it because she'd have took me away from you and you wouldn't have had me.
And now you're implicated too,
Yeah,
and you'll go to jail forever.
You helped me, so you would go to jail too, so you can't say anything. I mean, she is a very young child, so she probably thought it was right, so she doesn't say anything. And they kind of drag her body off.
Yeah.
It's very quickly found, isn't it?
Very quickly found.
Day,
yeah.
Because they are children. Then she starts threatening the older boy as well, doesn't it?
It goes from one thing, and you know there's something going on.
Fire. She sets fire to the
tree house with the kid inside.
Yeah, she locks him in, padlocks it, and then sets fire to it. They notice that he manages to get out of a window on the roof, but then it collapses and he falls.
And then she's going to smash his head a rock.
Yeah, she's about to kill him, and then the little kid finally sticks up, and she shoves her out of the way, but then the mum and dad run out because they've seen the fire. And that, she's like, get away to them both, but she's looking at her, thinking, there's always something.
Yeah. And the last house she lived at, everyone died in a fire except for her. So as soon as a fire starts, you know that she's going to be the one who's involved.
She's a twisted fire starter.
Yeah. So do you want to jump into what the ending is?
So she goes for it and leathers her, doesn't she? She whacks across the face.
And it's one of those things where you're like,
she gets sedated, but straight away there's somebody there, sedates her. That wouldn't happen.
Well, no.
And then she's put into a secure ward, strapped down.
When I go to hospitals, I carry a syringe around with me.
But then it just doesn't make sense. So they've knocked her out and they've got her as if she's sectioned, like holding her. And then, but I mean, she isn't. She's just been sedated and that. Yeah. So her son's okay. They revive him.
But he's not. They say that he's been tested.
Yeah, it'll be okay though.
Well, we don't know that.
Yeah,
that's
he will
fine.
be.
Well, he might not be.
Yeah, but he was.
Was he though?
He was fine.
He's dead. He dies.
And anyway, the husband goes back home. So the mum's in hospital. He takes the littlest kid back home. She goes to bed. He's got this weird little orphan kid, and she's meant to be in bed. And then she comes down like all make-upped up with the little dress on, but she's a little kid. And he's pissed by this point.
He's had a bottle of wine.
He can't go his wife for drinking because
no.
he's pissed out.
He's got two kids upstairs, and he's had a full bottle of wine.
She wouldn't do if you've got little kids.
No, you won't get that drunk.
No.
And he is drunk because you see it from his point of view.
Yeah,
It's like,
blurry. You know when you've got to close an eye because you're so drunk.
To see what's going on.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, no.
I can drink more than you. That's not saying a lot, is it? And anyway, the little girl starts I can't remember what she does, but she doesn't do anything overtly sexual, but she kind of sort of goes
starts
like that.
Touching him and just lying next to him, talking
as if
together,
and he sort of goes, "What are you doing?
We're
Yeah,
get to your room.
Get to bed. You're a child." And this, that, and the other. So she sees her arse, and she realises he didn't want out to do with her, and then she stabs him to death, doesn't she? She just stabs him to death. Bearing in mind, he's a bloke, probably about your build. She's tiny.
She's probably fitter than me.
Tiny 11-year-old girl.
Yeah,
so
and
it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
She does get him from behind though. She stabs him in the back first, so that's got to do some damage.
Yeah, I wouldn't so.
Well, then again, your life's in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been in that situation, so.
Yeah, I don't think an 11-year-old girl could kill. The mum gets a call at the hospital, and she's a bit out of it, but she's like, "Hello, yeah." She'd emailed the place she was meant to have come from. They had no record of her, but she found a book she'd hidden, and it had a couple of words in, and when she searched it, it's a mental institution and an asylum.
And it turns out
when they were like, "No, you've got it wrong. We're not." Because she said, "Oh, we adopted a child. We think she's from there." And they're like, "No, you've got it wrong." And they're like, "We're a mental health unit. We're an asylum."
No.
And she got through to somebody else, and he was like, "Oh my God, have you got so and so?" And it turned out it was this lass, and she was like, "Well, yeah, we've adopted her." And I was like, "What do you mean you've adopted her? She's a grown woman."
Born in 1976.
Yeah, she's older
She
than
has
me.
Dwarfism.
She's dwarfism, fully grown woman, but looks like a child. And they were just like, "What?" Because I laughed and I said, "This has happened recently."
Yeah, because we remember seeing a story of it.
Yeah. and he said she is absolutely psychotic. He said she'd done this numerous times here. Was it the Ukraine or Russia?
No, she said she came from Russia, but I think it was from
Ukraine
like
or
Czechoslovakia or something
yeah.
like that.
And he said she's done it numerous times here and pretended to be a kid. And actually, when they're
She's
fight, she always
dads.
collects dads, but she wants them to be in love with her and have a family with her. And the minute that doesn't work out, she just kills the entire family. And he said she's done it loads, that's why she was here. And they said, we don't even know if she got out. And so she's like trying to get herself with it to get home. So she's driving like crazy, nearly kills herself a few times, gets home, crashes through the front of this glass house, sees her husband's dead. It's no loss, he was an absolute dickhead, to be fair.
And no character.
Yeah, he was an absolute knobber. But anyway, she gets her out, doesn't she?
Yeah.
They sort of rush off away, but then she just appears again.
Yeah,
So there's lots of fighting, and it's one of them where it seems to go on a lot.
It is.
And
It's
tiny.
It's a slasher film where, well, it's not a slasher film, but it's more of a thriller. But the ending's into a sort of slasher where this kid-like person can't be killed until the very end when she
You just
gets her head
up and throw her against the wall. Not to what, drop a nut on her. I do, drop a nut on her, rip her hair out, bang her against the wall. She dead.
Anyway, they fall into the pond that was heavily
frozen lake
suggested.
Yeah, and then she kicks her off, and she gets out. The mother gets out to go towards the door, and then she's like Jason and appears again.
Comes out of the lake.
Yeah.
And then she gets kicked in the face again, and it breaks her neck this time. So she's dead. She's gone. And that's it. That's
and this was based on a true story back then, but there has been a recent story
one, in America.
Only in the last couple of years,
yeah,
I'd say.
I think it was a few
and
years
it was
ago.
a Ukrainian.
Yeah,
something
pretending
like
to be a child.
She was meant to be a child. I've seen
But it
picture of
wasn't.
her,
It's
and
mental.
she was a fully grown woman with dwarfism and was pretending to be a child, and she was psychotic as well.
And one of the big plot points of this is that she won't go to the dentist.
Yeah.
Because teeth
Because
tell all.
dentists can tell, can't they, whether you're what age you are? Because they do that with asylum seekers. But yeah, it's a strange film.
It's a strange film. I think it was
interesting.
Yeah, it was well made.
Uncomfortable as well.
Yeah, uncomfortable, well made. I think there are a few tropes in it that just a little bit tired. Like the dad. I think that as a married couple, we agree on a lot of stuff. And if you were to come at me and say something that was off about this other person, I'd believe you.
Well, that's what we said watching the film. I said, if I came to you and said, you believe it, and you went, I would believe you.
And there's no way that I would stop you from sleeping in your own bed because she has, what was it? She had a broken arm or something?
Yeah, she grabbed her by the arm.
Yeah, and then she put her arm in a vice and broke it.
But was like, oh shoot, and he was like, you've broke her arm.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. You can sleep downstairs. I'm going to sleep with this
adorable child. Yeah, it's all very strange, and a lot of it, some of it didn't work. It was too. I mean, it's far fetched anyway, but it does happen.
But it's far fetched. But it is real. It can happen.
The way the husband was, he was just pathetic.
Yes.
He kind of. It sounds awful. He didn't really care that his character was killed off.
No, you don't. Yeah, it's all right.
Interesting film. I've never seen out about like it before. I have to say.
I remember seeing it when it came out. I didn't watch it. I mean, I'd seen the trailers and all that. But yeah, I don't. Not really.
No.
It's all right. I'll watch.
I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10.
Wow, 6 pumpkins from her pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it 5.
I was going to give it a 5, but I thought...
For my pumpkin patch.
I like...
And you know what? They're not nice, firm pumpkins.
No,
they're probably a little bit squishy. Maybe they've already been carved.
Bit brown.
Yeah. We're bringing in so many things to this rating.
I think I gave it a 6 because I think she's a really good actress.
Which one?
Vera
Farmiga.
Yeah.
From the Conjuring.
Vera Duckworth. But yeah, Vera, whatever she's called.
Farmiga.
Bates Motel and Conjuring. I think she's a really.
We're going to go back and watch Bates Motel, I think, because we missed that when we saw the first series, didn't we? It was a little bit hit and miss.
But yeah, 6, and I think I'm being generous there. Yeah, it's not rubbish.
No, I don't think it's rubbish.
It's a bit of a weird film.
Yeah, and obviously, if you watch it after you watch this review, we've just completely ruined it for you.
Yeah, but
anyway, thank you for watching. We do appreciate it, and I'm going to try and work on my tags and hashtags and all that sort of stuff to try and get more viewers. If you do like it, please share and let us know what you think of our videos, and let us know what you think of the film that you watched. Yeah. And we'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what the film is tomorrow, so
be surprised.
Yeah. See you tomorrow night for the surprise. You don't like me doing that voice, do you? See you later.
That's the story of, that's the glory of love.
Esther? Esther?